Hello, welcome back to the Boardgames4K YouTube channel, and this is a channel where we give you reviews, playthroughs, unboxings, and we generally talk a lot of bollocks about tabletop gaming in general. And in this video, we're going to be talking about a game that is close to our hearts. We're going to talk about Monopoly, but not just any old Monopoly. We're going to be talking about Monopoly Socialism, and in this game, you'll be rolling some dice, going around the board, electing to manage projects that will enable you to get rid of your community tokens that will enable you to win the game. So in this video, we're going to be giving you a very brief overview of the rules. And believe me, there's not many of them. We'll be telling you what we do like, what we don't like, and then we'll come back and we'll tell you whether or not Monopoly Socialism is still worth playing today and until the next revolution. So if you are new here, leave a comment down below, give us a thumbs up, and we'll see you after this. Boardgames4K. So, Monopoly Socialism. How'd you play this game? So what you're going to do, you're going to put the board out in the centre of the table. You've got a load of these community project cards that you're going to be placing out in corresponding spaces around the board, right? So these, in the traditional Monopoly, you've got to say, like the brown ones refer to Old Kent Road and all that sort of stuff. And then you've got Mayfair, which is the most expensive ones. So the traditionally cheapest properties will have less spaces for people to put down their community markers. And the most expensive ones, like the Mayfair ones, the equivalent of the Mayfair ones, will have more spaces, be more expensive, right? So what you'll do on your turn, you will roll the two dice, and there's a sort of a custom die with these crappy stickers put on it. You roll the two dice and you'll move that number of spaces, and you refer to a little chart that will tell you what the second die does, right? So if you roll a number of pips, you'll add them to the other die, you'll move your token that number of spaces, just like normal Monopoly, right? So if you roll the ×2, you will double your standard die roll, and then you'll move your token that number of spaces. If you draw the black +1, you'll draw a chance card, and if you've already got a chance card in your hand, then you'll have to discard a chance card. And similarly, if you roll the +2, you'll draw 2 chance cards, and if you've already got a chance card in your hand, you will then have to discard 2 chance cards. So you'll look at the space where you land, and then you'll carry out the instructions of that space, and then you'll turn ends, and then you'll pass the dice to the player on your left, not the right, on the left. Very apt, right? So when you land on an unmanaged project is a space that has got no community tokens on it. So you'll either choose to start managing that project or you auction it. If you don't want to manage it, then you will have to auction it. And the auctions work in a similar way to traditional Monopoly. And the way that you manage projects, you will pay the costs that's depicted on the board to the bank, and then you'll place one of your community markers on that space. So at the beginning of your turn, you will get the option to self-develop one of your existing projects. And what you'll do, you'll take one of your community tokens, and then you'll pay the fee, the self-development fee that's depicted on the card, not on the board, to the bank, and then you'll place another one of your community markers on that card, right? So if you land on a developed project and there's no more, when we say develop, that means there's no more spaces to put these community chips on there. If you land on one of them, the bank must pay the community manager of that project and the community fund, which is sort of like the free parking sort of house rule that everyone uses in the traditional Monopoly. They pay them the same amount, right? And if you manage 2 fully developed projects of a colour set, then both of them pay out if another player lands on them, right? So that's sort of lovely. So when you pass go, you will collect $50 or whatever the currency is from the bank, not $200. Like I said, you've got chance cards in the game. Some of the chance cards that are available are, you've got the ones that allow you to play this card immediately, and there's others that will tell you when you can play them. So some of them are, you've got tax time, socialism doesn't come cheap, you pay the bank $100 from the community fund. You've got the minimum wage increase, it sucks to be a small business owner, pay the bank $100 from the community fund. You've got the social security benefits have increased. That's great news for old people. Pay $100 from the community fund. And you've got potholes in Main Street. Time to call the public works. Pay the bank $50 from the community fund. And these are all sort of tongue-in-cheek, well, apparently tongue-in-cheek, sort of chance cards based on the original Monopoly. They're sort of things that throw spanner in the works, and yeah, funny, haha, right? So you've got a community shuttle, you pay $50 at the bank, and then you can then promote one of the community projects from where you are and the next community shuttle stop for some bizarre reason. You got free parking, nothing happens. Obviously, in the original Monopoly, you got the rubbish house rule that destabilises the game. You can put that in if you want, obviously. You got go to jail, and you got just visiting when you get out of jail by paying a certain amount of money like you do in the normal one. And yeah, basically, once you get rid of all your 10 community chips, the game is over and you win the game. And that's it. That's how you play Monopoly Socialism. So what do we like about Monopoly Socialism? So the first thing that we like about this is the novelty value. It's how do we say it? It's a novel theme, right, to say the least. Yeah, I think it's put out there to just sort of wind people up a little bit, but we like the novel theming of these monopolies. Another one that we found quite maybe hilarious or a little bit controversial like this is the Monopoly Millennials, and I think Hasbro are deliberately trying to sort of maybe keep the Monopoly thing alive by exploring alternative versions of this. I mean, we had the big spate of sort of Monopoly sort of city type things, you know, like you had Monopoly London, Monopoly Manchester, Monopoly Birmingham, and all that sort of stuff. And I think that sort of wore a bit thin, so now they're trying to sort of be a bit more controversial in the hope that they can sort of maybe sort of convince people that Monopoly is actually a good game to play. So the second thing that we like about this is that this game is actually quite controversial, and it's sort of wound a few people up a lot wrong way. It was on the news about this, and you had a lot of like left-wing groups sort of criticising it, and you also had a lot of right-wing groups criticising this as well. You know, the fact that you take this sort of political ideology and just sort of you're trying to poke fun at it it's divisive and it's controversial, and we do like things that are divisive and controversial, regardless of what you think about the political nature of this one, whether you sit on the left or right side of the fence. The fact that it's controversial and you know is sticking its neck above the parapet in a sense, it's sort of admirable. Kind of, you know what I mean? So the next thing we like about this is the fact that the roll and move element is actually sort of not that bad. You know, you're not just rolling your dice and then moving that number of spaces. You've got other stuff to do, and it's not like deep by any means, stretch of the imagination, but it does change up a little bit. You know, the fact that you got an extra die with extra stuff on it that allows you to say draw extra chance cards, and I know it's still random, but it is sort of like a little bit of an antidote to just rolling the die and then moving. Are we clutching at straws? So what don't we like about Monopoly Socialism? So the first thing and the main thing about this game is the fact that Hasbro probably don't know the history of their own bloody game, right? Because the original Monopoly, it wasn't called Monopoly when it was released, it was called the Landlord game. And it was a stark warning to people about the pitfalls and dangers of capitalism, in a sense, right? Because I think it was released in the 1920s, 1930s, and the lady, I can't remember the name of the lady that made it, but she was fighting against the capitalist nature of high rents and money grabbing and greed. And I think the fact that this is sort of, what do they call it? It's called a parody of a classic, right? Well, the actual classic game was a parody in itself, wasn't it? A parody of the ideological disparity of the time when it was first made. So I think maybe Hasbro are getting a little bit confused as to the history and the nature of their own games. And sort of Hasbro, I mean, goodness sake. So the second thing we don't like about Monopoly Socialism is the component quality. It's absolute garbage. I mean, these cards, they're flimsy, the tokens are rubbish. When you punch them out, they rip, and the board's floppy. The box is just terrible. It's cheap, it's nasty, and it's a disgrace. And I mean, for a company that's taking the mick out of, you know, socialism and that, why didn't they give you better component qualities? And okay, the actual playing pieces themselves are made of metal and they are red, right? But the overall component quality of this game is a disgrace. So the final thing that we don't like about Monopoly Socialism is this game is essentially a load of crap. Yeah, it's just roll and move. They tried to make a spin on it, but whoever designed this game needs to be locked up in a gulag, because the game itself is rubbish. It exists just to poke fun at a political ideology, right? So that's all it is. I mean, obviously Hasbro is a multinational corporation and they exist to make money, and they probably see socialism as a threat to that. And this game is essentially just all the scare stories and all the misinformation and fake news that you could gather up on the left of centre or left-wing ideology, political ideology, and it's chucked into a box and it's sold to you as a sort of a warning. And it stands in stark contrast to the virtues and values of the original Monopoly. And I said it before, I said it again. Hasbro really need to start researching their own bloody games, because this is just, it makes no sense to me. It's just put out there to wind people up as a deliberate way to be controversial, and it falls flat because the mechanics of this game suck, the component quality of this game sucks, and it's just not a genuine game. Right? So to summarise, is Monopoly Socialism worth playing today and in the future? And we're going to say, no, it's a load of rubbish. This is probably one of the worst games that we've actually reviewed on this channel. Like we said, the component quality is dire. The mechanics are dire. And if you're going to play Monopoly, for God's sake, go and play the original version of it, because I'm not saying that's a better game, you know, but this is terrible. It's really, really awful. It's rushed, it's cheap, and it's not even a cash grab. It's just there to stick the knife in to a subsection of society that have different opinions to other people, and that's always to be frowned upon. You know, we're not going to make judgments on which side of the fence you sit on here. The people that would buy this game are probably going to buy it because it's now out of print, for starters. They're going to try and price gouge it on eBay in the future, right? So it's a confused beast of a game. It doesn't know what it wants to be. It's appalling. We're going to give this 1 out of 5. We think you should avoid this at all costs. Don't even bother buying it for the curiosity value, because it's a load of crap. The game sucks. So that's Monopoly Socialism. If you are new here, and if you got this far, give us a thumbs up, leave a comment in the section down below, and we'll see you next time.